All right, part 3 of the Ask Me Anything segment for June 2018. Warshot 5151. I hope I said that right. What more have you heard about DAZN? Any rumors on cost? I've heard anywhere from 20 to 25 bucks a month. So we'll see. If they're going to charge that much a month, Eddie Hearn's really going to have to deliver on some good action. So we'll see. He's promising big fights on that platform. We shall see. Also, have you heard if the ESPN Plus app is going to add any more fights to their boxing vault? Absolutely. Their boxing vault will continue to grow. That's another benefit of that app. And again, that's $5 a month. And that's why I think that if Eddie Hearn is going to charge 20 or more for DAZN, he's got a lot of competition with that ESPN app, ESPN Plus app. So he's going to have to put on some really big fights on that app. Any chance you might be doing a call-in show in the next 12 months? Yes, we are working on it, and I know I've been promising you guys this forever. There's just been a lot going on, guys. I keep getting assignment after assignment, and it's good. It's a good thing, right? But back there, my setup, I actually have another laptop that's not in here. There's, I got one, that's Tiffany's laptop, but we've got 3 laptops in this house and 2 computers. We've got like a total of 6 monitors in here. That's how much work we have going on between her day job, my day job, the boxing stuff, all the articles. It's been nuts. Crazy, but good. Anyway, we are working on getting TNC updated to where we will be able to take calls. In fact, we were just experimenting with some technology last night, looking into some stuff. And I've asked a few people out there for some advice and some help, and they've been really cool helping me, but I'm still, it's way over my head, this technology stuff. TNC is going to have a live call-in feature first, but it will still be audio only. That piece will come first, and then we will add the video element, live video with call-in all together down the line. That's going to happen next year. But this year, we will get the live call-in feature, guys. We're working on it, all right? Jan Vandenbos asked, he asked a bunch of questions. So you a bunch of quick questions, bro, and I'll give you a bunch of quick answers, okay? What did you think of Dubois versus Little this past weekend? I like Dubois. Very young, very raw, but some great physical tools. He's a heavyweight Jaime Munguia in a certain respect. Munguia had a better amateur career, has more skills and fundamentals right now, but Dubois is in a weaker division. And I think at heavyweight, this is all that matters, right? So, and this. So we'll see. But he's got a long way to go, but very young. What did I feel about Davies, Yard, and Murray? I talked about Yard before. Yard could be Chris Eubank 2.0. I just see a lot of flash. I see a lot of sizzle, but no steak from that guy. What's next for Billy Joe Saunders? Who knows? It's hard to take Billy Joe Saunders seriously. I got to give him credit. He did sign to fight Golovkin if the Golovkin-Canelo rematch fell through. But he has signed fights before and backed out. More than once for the same fight, as we just saw him do with Martin Murray. So it's hard to take Billy Joe Saunders seriously. At this point, the best, most important win of his career was beating David Lemieux a couple years after Gennady Golovkin completely pulverized him. That's the legacy of Billy Joe Saunders this far. How do you rate the English domestic boxing scene versus the U.S.? I get asked this a lot. It's hard to compare because America is such a bigger country, right? The United States is a massive country. It'd be more comparable to the European Union. Not exactly, but more, that'd be a better comparison. The UK is relatively small compared to America. So maybe you could call the southwest region of America basically California and Las Vegas and compare that to the UK. Maybe that would be a good comparison. I think that America continues to prop up very good fighters. Our amateur system is flawed here. It's not funded very well. It's managed horribly. You guys might be able to see my USA Boxing Passbook back there. Just to get that to spar, to get it renewed like last year, just to spar. And I'm in the Masters now, right? Because I'm over 35. That process took so freaking long. And the USA Boxing office, Delilah Ponce, she's right there in Los Angeles. I could have walked to her damn office, but I had to mail a bunch of crap in and do all this stuff. It's a mess. And I'm nobody. I'm just a guy who likes to, fight and spar sometimes. So the amateur system is crazy messed up in this country right now. I think that the scene in the UK is better right now, but at a domestic level. Globally, America is still producing some very good fighters, and it's still the hot ticket as far as where a lot of the big fights are. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops and changes. Boxing's profile is getting bigger in America because the demographics here are changing, and a lot of the people immigrating to this country right now are bringing boxing with them, and their kids are fighting in boxing and watching it. So that's actually helping bring boxing back to the mainstream. Boxing had left the mainstream for a while and gone strictly to premium cable. Now that it's coming back to apps and social media and regular TV and stuff a lot more, I do think that its profile will increase in America over the next generation. Do you watch kickboxing or MMA? Not my thing. I have no, ill will toward it, just not my thing. How did you and Tiff meet? We met at the gym, believe it or not. Which, we like to work out, man. What other sports do you like? I loved basketball as a kid. Basketball was my love. I'm tall. And I grew up in Detroit when the Detroit Pistons were really good. And during what many consider to be the golden era of the NBA, the 80s, early 90s. The Detroit Pistons, they called them the bad boys back then, won 2 titles, should have won 3 straight, but the refs screwed them against LA in '88. But it was impossible not to love basketball. So that was my first love. Now, the NBA, it's trash. I just can't watch it. Slayer is on their farewell tour. Have you ever seen them play live? I can honestly say I don't think I've ever heard a Slayer song, man. I'm guessing that's heavy metal just because of the name. Could you recommend me a song? I don't. Heavy metal's never really been my thing. I'm not against it. I think there's some cool hard rock songs, but you'd have to give me an example of a song. But yeah, I don't think I've ever heard a Slayer song. Don't hate me. How big is Wilder in the U.S.? How big is AJ in the U.S.? Neither are very well known at all, which is the biggest reason why their fight won't happen until next year. Do you know any Dutch words? I think danku. Is that how you say thank you? Danku? Maybe not. That's all I know. Do you take Tiff out enough? In LA, we went out all the time, brother. All the time. In fact, I was always wore out and tired because we went out so much in LA. Here in Atlanta, we don't know where anything is yet. So we're not going out like that yet. But we get out of the house and try to do stuff every weekend. We definitely try to stay active. Okay, next. Dominique Pereira Palacios asked, just as bullfighting has been questioned and even banned in some places, I think the debate about boxing's moral grounds will continue to get more intense. What would be your argument in favor of the sport? Good question, man. That's a very interesting question. My first thing would be bullfighting to me isn't a sport because it involves an animal. An animal can't say, yeah, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do this. It's an animal. So for people, you can't compare bullfighting at all to boxing. In boxing, you have a choice to say, yes, I want to fight. No, I don't want to fight. You could take a knee if you want to. You could pull a Rigondeaux out and say, oh, I hurt my hand. You know what I'm saying? An animal can't do that. So that's the first major difference between the two. Also, in bullfighting, every time there's a bullfight, someone dies. The bull gets killed, right? In boxing, yes, people die, but it's still a rare occurrence. And one occurrence is one too many, don't get me wrong. But again, differences. For boxing, here's what I would tell people, and this is what I have told people that say it's violent and it should be outlawed. Because I've met people that say that to me. Boxing has saved infinitely more lives than it has ended. More lives have been saved from this beautiful sport than have been hurt by it. And that's the truth. And I have plenty of evidence I could bring forth to prove that. But even more than that, just from personal experience. In the work I've done, I've seen tragedy in boxing. I've gone to gyms and worked out and seen punch-drunk dudes who can't even keep water in them. When they drink water, it falls right out. And it's devastating. And they had a pro career. They had 20 fights and they went 5-15. And they're broke as shit. And they're teaching an aerobics class and people can't even understand what the guy's saying. I've seen that side of it. I've also seen kids who would absolutely be in jail or dead be able to feed their family. Even if they were a journeyman gatekeeper level fighter, making 50 grand a year for 10 years, put away some money. Look at Beltran. Beltran is the lightweight. Somebody that a lot of people love in LA, right? He was Manny Pacquiao's sparring partner for years. Was able to buy a house. I've seen way more of that than I've seen of the tragedy. That's what I would say in favor of the sport. Also, I want to teach my kids boxing. Even my little girls, when I have kids. I hope I have one boy, one girl. Teach them both boxing. Do I want them fighting as professional fighters? No. But I want to teach them how to defend themselves. I also want to give them that confidence and that discipline that boxing gives you, that other sports like basketball, which again I loved, didn't give me. Shaolin AG asked, what are your feelings on MMA? Not a big fan, bro. I've met a lot of MMA fighters, and they're always super cool. A lot of them hang out at boxing gyms to try to come in and learn how to box. You see some of them at boxing events and stuff, and they're super cool people. I've never met one that was a dick, but it's just not my thing. When they get on the ground and roll around on each other, I just don't like it. And then their stand-up game, because they call it stand-up in MMA, is so horrible compared to most boxers. There's some guys in MMA that have a decent stand-up game, but just when I hear the announcers say, oh, this guy's a great boxer. He had an amateur record of 80-0, and you find out the guy fought in a bunch of tournaments in Oregon, and that's where he got his 80-0 amateur record. And they're trying to prop this guy up like he's Mayweather or something. That stuff just annoys me, man. But just in terms of the aesthetics, just not my thing. But I've watched it before, and I'll go out with my homies and watch it if that's what they want to watch. You know what I'm saying? I'll support the team. Timmy Turner asked, who wins, Usyk or Gassiev? Dude, I am 50-50 on that fight. It's killing me. It's killing me. It's only a month away. Killing me, because I can't pick a winner. But I'd have to slightly favor Usyk just because of the amateur pedigree. He beat guys like Beterbiev in the amateurs, right? He shut out Joe Joyce in the amateurs. Think about that. Joe Joyce, the super heavyweight prospect right now. He shut him out in the amateurs. So Usyk, you got to slightly favor him. But I don't know, man. I don't know. The late rounds of that fight, the way Gassiev just keeps coming, it's going to get interesting, man. He also asked, did aliens help ancient civilizations to build pyramids? No. That show on what I think is History, Ancient Aliens, number one, that's not history. It didn't happen. Number two, it's so illogical, and I'm a space nerd. Guys, when I lived in LA, I'd go to Griffith Observatory every first Friday of the month. They have leading astrophysicists and NASA people from Jet Propulsion and all that come there and just do a lecture. And I would sit and attend these space lectures. That's how much of a space nerd I am. And I would just learn about the latest and greatest in space discovery. And when you really start to learn about the vastness and just how it all works, the thought that an ancient civilization flew millions, possibly billions of light years to get here to help these crude people build pyramids, which in some ways for their time were genius. The way that they were built and the structures of them and everything were well advanced for their time, but ultimately were heavily flawed in design, okay? And most of them didn't make it till today. Compare them to a skyscraper now, you know what I'm saying? It just makes no freaking sense. And to leave not a trace of real evidence. So, no. But there's guys, that Greek guy with the crazy hair, he's making himself rich pushing that shit. So good for him if people believe it. Would you live life differently if you knew for a fact that there was an afterlife? Abso-freaking-lutely I would. If you knew for sure, if we knew that you're going to be judged and all this stuff for sure, yeah, I probably wouldn't say shit, dick, pissed so much, I probably would do things a little differently, but I don't believe in any of that crap. I don't think there is an afterlife, so I don't worry about it. I live my life because based on everything we do know, this is all you get, guys. So if there's something you want to try, something you want to do, there's a chick at your job you want to ask out, there's a girl at the gym who looks hot and you want to ask her out, do it. This is all you get. This is it. Gabriel Garcia asks, what is your main 3 to 5 goals you want to accomplish in Atlanta? Good question, my man. I'm going to keep this boxing only. I got a bunch of other goals, but I'm going to keep it to boxing only, okay? Number 1, I want to build a house or buy a house and build a home studio in the house. And I'm going to build an actual freaking studio. That's what I want to do. I'm collecting all the money I'm making off MLB. When I write articles, I'm collecting all the money from all the media work I'm doing and I'm putting it in an account, dude. And it's probably going to cost me 10 grand, but I'm going to get there one day. I'm nowhere near close to the money that I need to put aside for this. But I want to build an actual studio that I can do TNC in. And at one point, have guests in, the whole 9. That's my biggest goal. Number 2, continue to build up my profile with Ring Magazine and Boxing Monthly Magazine. 10, 20 years from now, I want to have a stack of magazines like this that I can show grandkids of all my articles. I think that'd be badass. 3, get to more fights on the East Coast. I told you guys already, going to New Orleans next month. I want to do more of that. My profile in LA, in Vegas, especially after the infamous Canelo Golovkin tirade with Bob Bennett last year, my profile's solid. Everybody there knows who I am. New York, Texas, Florida, some people know me, some people don't. I want to build up my profile out here more. 4, I want to build up the boxing community more here in Atlanta. This city should be huge in boxing. I have no idea why it's not. It just doesn't make sense. Number 5, I want to get back into training more. So I haven't been to a boxing gym since I left LA. It's killing me. I'm going through withdrawals. I want to get back in there. And I want to maybe try to get in some Masters tournaments or something like that while I'm out here in Atlanta. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I think it'd be part of building up boxing here in this market. So those are some 5 boxing related goals for me here in ATL. Tom Savage. What's up, Tom? You know, Tom, you're a crazy man, but it takes one to know one. That's why I love you. He has a few questions. Some good. Uh-oh. My phone? Okay, it's still recording. It was just giving me a warning. All right, I'm still recording here. Anyway, he asked, if you watched Taylor Postol, he was in the front row. How did you see the fight? How do you feel about Taylor's progress in matchmaking? Look, man, Taylor doesn't even have 10 pro fights. He's already fought Vasquez. He's already fought Postol. That tells you what his handlers think about him. Compare him to Anthony Yard, who I just talked about in, I think, a different segment of this series. Completely different, right? Man, compare him to Deontay Wilder's first several dozen fights. Major difference. So that tells you all you need to know about Taylor. Don't take my word for it. Just look what his handlers are doing with him. Do I get anxious? Do I get kind of anxious if a girl tries to put her finger up my ass? Or do I like that shit? In parentheses, he puts like Oscar. Oh, Oscar de la Hoya diss. I got a similar question to this in the last Ask Me Anything. I don't know what it is about you guys in butt play. I'm not into butt play. Not my thing. I'm also not into nipple play. I've had girls try to like play with my nipples and shit. I had one girl try to stick a finger up my ass while she was sucking me off. If this is too much info, hey, you asked, Savage. You asked. And I immediately put the kibosh on that shit. I'm just not into that. Nah, it's just not my thing, man. So, hey, man. Some people like kitchen utensils. For me, ladies, I'm sorry. I'm going to trigger you right now. All I need is some good old pussy. I'm good, okay? All right, I won't talk about that no more, ladies. Okay, he has one more question here. Mike, have you ever had to move to a different area because some crazy chick fell in love with you and just went all mental when you did not reciprocate, asking for a friend? Okay, Sounds like you need a restraining order, Savage. Look, I dated some crazies back in the day. I got all kinds of stories I could tell you about crazy chicks I dated. I dated, some hot model type of chicks. And it was cool to go to a bar or a party with, them around your arm and they're looking all hot and shit. Cool. And it was even fun because some of the crazy chicks can be fun in the bedroom. But putting up with that shit, not worth it. Not worth it, fellas. But yeah, if you have a chick who, you might have to leave town, bro, or just get a restraining order. Okay, CP Films asks, Crawford and Spence, when will they meet? Who do you favor? I don't think they're going to fight until at least 2021, possibly 2022. It's unfortunate, but that's the scenario, bro. If you look at the timelines that I've given you guys for some of these big fights and when they're going to happen, I've been pretty right with them, right? And it's not because I'm Nostradamus or I have some inside information. It's just because I understand the business of boxing and how certain promoters and certain management firms do business. Spence is going to get the Keith Thurman cash out. Keith Thurman is half retired. They're probably going to cash him out late next year. So Spence will get that fight. That will build up his profile. That will be on regular network TV, I would hope. I hope that doesn't go to Showtime. And Crawford's just going to keep doing his thing. The earliest they could fight is 2020. But I think it's probably going to be 2021. It's just going to take a long time to build up. If they fought today, I would take Crawford, and I'd take Crawford big. Guys, Spence has beat a busted up Kell Brook coming down 2 weight divisions with a broken face. That's his best win. Passes the eye test, but that's his best win. Terrence Crawford, just more experienced, okay? As a pro, seen more styles, done it all. I like him now by decision, but it'd be pretty decisive. 8 rounds to 4, something like that. A year or two from now, when they finally fight, I'm probably going to favor Spence, and maybe Spence by stoppage. But that fight will be, this generation's Leonard Hearns, 2 American fighters around that weight class fighting each other. I think that's going to be a big deal, man. Edgar Valdez asks, FIFA World Cup 2018, not good? I haven't watched a minute of it, bro. I talked about this in part 1 of this series. I'll say this much. I watched one World Cup. I watched the 2006 World Cup final. That's it. That's the only World Cup game I've ever watched because Italy was playing. So my family, we gathered around. I think it was at my uncle's house, and we all watched it. It ended 1-1. No one scored. So they went to this penalty kicks. So the championship of this tournament that comes around every few years, that's this global tournament, that's such a big deal, was decided on penalty kicks. I just don't get it. All the headbutting, there was that headbutt thing, but the guy pretended like he had been shot. He did the Matrix thing, all that's just, the flopping. These dudes fall and they go, the look on their face, the horrible acting. I just can't, man. But I know it's a big thing. I get it. Edgar also asked, do I take a multivitamin? If so, what? I try to take a multivitamin and fish oils every day. You got to be careful with the fish oils. You got to get the ones that have lower fat, that are better for your heart. There's some of them that are just loaded with cholesterol. I think it is, not fat, cholesterol. So get the ones, your cholesterol, that's right, yeah. I was taking ones for a while with really high cholesterol, if you get the cheap ones. And I went to my doctor to get my annual physical. Actually, it was my physical for my USA Boxing pass back there, my book, so I could spar. And he goes, dude, your cholesterol shot up this year. What the hell happened? And he asked what I was doing differently, and I told him about the fish oils. You got to read the back. You got to get the more expensive ones that have low cholesterol. And those are really good for your heart. I also drink protein shakes when I work out. That's all I do, man. That's it. Vitamin, fish oil, protein shakes. Try to keep it very natural. Michael O'Connor asked, what do you think of Miguel Burchelt? I thought he had a pretty amazing 2017. Seems to have lost momentum. Not entirely his fault. He talks about some of the injuries and stuff. But he's fighting much lower opposition. How do you feel he would fare against Tank Davis if they fought? Bro, it's so interesting you asked this because I talked about it this week on the Neutral Corner. Yeah, Burchell had a great first half of 2017 and then kind of fell off and has just fought off TV, off American TV in Mexico against shitty opposition. The last guy he fought had no business being in a title fight. But Davis is an explosive southpaw. Burchell is taller, but he's also slower. I'd probably favor Davis, but it would be damn competitive. Burchell would have a very, very good chance. I just think Davis would be able to catch him with explosive counter punches and maybe bust up his face a little bit. That's what I think would happen. All right, guys. Part 3 out of the way. About to get to part 4 here.